Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have JC. JC is from Panama, but he lives in London. So let's see what JC has to say. Enjoy the interview.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, JC. I'm very well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for taking the time on Sunday for the interview. Thank you very much.
I know. It's really exciting.
I like your Christmas decoration on your side. You're very good. Amazing.
Thank you. We have a competition in the neighborhood, like the whole street, whomever has the not the best, but the more, festive decoration possible.
Amazing.
So yeah.
Interesting.
Someone started in one part of the road, another one else started in another one. It was very organic.
I love Christmas. For me, this time of the year is the most beautiful time. I think it's just like the energy around people. They are so more cozy. You know what I mean? It's nice. It's nice. I like
it. Might be the cold, actually.
Yeah. JC, before we start the game, just tell me where you're from.
I was born in Panama. My family is Catalan. They immigrated to Panama in the 50s, and then I was born there.
Oh, amazing. And how long have you been living in London for?
For 8 years now, more or less.
Wow. And what's, in your opinion, what do you like the most about living in London?
I think that London is such a vibrant and open and diverse city. It is many cities in one, and it is not just one city. So it feels sometimes very British and sometimes very international. I think there's a space for everyone in London.
Amazing. I totally agree with you. And what do you do for a living?
I am a visual artist. So I use photography to explore human rights, mental health, and identity, particularly queer and national identity.
I see. I saw this phrase in your Instagram, and I was a bit curious about. So tell me a little bit about that. So you use photography to express yourself, the human rights, mental health, and identity. Tell me a little bit about.
Yes, so I work with different organizations creating photography projects in which we explore any of these issues that I mentioned. For instance, I've been working with young people with the Princess Trust in a community in Walthamstow, which is in East London. And we are exploring how supportive environments can help young people change their lives forever. So that's sort of like the type of work that I do. Also, I've been involved in projects exploring mental health. I worked in a really beautiful project with a community called The Tramper. It's a community of entrepreneurs here in London. And basically what we're doing was trying to discover why entrepreneurs have better chances of success when they are in close networks where everyone is supporting each other.
Very interesting. I have a few entrepreneurs here in the show, a few of them around the world.
Get them in touch.
JC, so before we start our journey really in the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself.
Something interesting about myself. Wow. I wasn't prepared for that question. Well, I love cooking. Cooking is something that I adore doing since I was very little. My grandma, she used to babysit for me. And what she would do is that she would put me in the center of the kitchen while she was cooking, and she would give me pots and pans and, spoons and whatever she could find. And just leave me in the middle of the kitchen, and then I would watch her cooking, and this, as I was growing up. So I've always had that connection with food and kitchen, and she always cooked. In my family, we are like 14 cousins. And so we always went to my grandma's when I lived in Panama every Sunday for lunches. She would cook for everyone. And all she did was cook the whole weekend for that lunch on Sunday. She would be the last to sit on the table. She would be the first to finish eating, to help everyone, take all the dishes back to the kitchen and then prepare dessert or coffee or whatever. So she really enjoyed that, and I enjoy that as well. So yeah, that's something that not a lot of people know about me.
Very good. I love that. You made me go back my memories as well, because I remember back in Brazil, I remember my grandmother as well, always cooking, this big family, everyone around, and she was always busy organizing everything. It just made me go back to my memories now.
Yeah, the beauty of that is about sharing. So a lot of people when we speak about, you know, food, they think that the connection with food is eating, and then you just satisfy your hunger. But actually, most of our cultures is about sharing that special moment, sharing your traditions, having a good time together around the table, getting to know each other better. That's why I enjoy cooking.
And where is in Panama you come from?
From the capital, from Panama City.
Okay, good. Right, so are ready to go on a beautiful journey for your memories in life and to share your point of views?
I am ready.
Amazing. So welcome to William and the Magic Box. I've got here my best friend, full of random fun questions, okay? So I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question, okay?
Fantastic.
Let's do it. Yes, help me dancing, I like it. JC, so just through the game, if there is a question that you don't have an answer for, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay? All very friendly, okay? First question for you is, which question you don't have an answer for?
Where are we going from here? That's the question. It's about, I'm a control freak, so most of my life is planned. But it's also about living in the moment, right? About being flexible to what the things that life throws at you.
Amazing. And what is your belief about what's afterlife? What is your belief? What do you believe? If there is anything happen after life?
This is the only life that we have. We have to, you know, make the best out of it. There's no afterlife. This is it. This is the only one.
Very good, very good. I like it. Second question. Let's do it.
Go for it.
Yes. You know, I of course, I think you might know. There is this Brazilian entertainer called Xuxa.
Yes. Of course, so, we grew up watching Xuxa. Come on.
Oh my God. She's my biggest idol ever. Do you remember the girls dance with her? She had the thing with her, like her hands. I should get that actually to be on the show.
You should get the background music as well.
Sometimes I put her music. Sometimes when people they go like they don't understand, but they go like I'm so like full of like energy. They go like why he's full of energy.
I mean, I remember, and we used to have this TV network called Cadena Ser. I think it was the name of the TV network. And what they would do is that they would play like programs from all the countries in Latin America all day long. So we would watch shows from Brazil or from Peru, from Bolivia, from Colombia, from Mexico. So during the whole day, you would have like different, you know, programs from all over the continent, which was fantastic. It would connect you to all those other people. And this is in the 80s, like, you know, a long time ago. So definitely, I remember Xuxa. I remember also, there was another program very similar to hers. I think it was from Bolivia or Peru. It was called Nube Luz, and it was very, very similar to Xuxa, like on the same sort of like wavelength and you know, like children's entertainment, but that a lot of adults watch as well.
Absolutely, like Xuxa. She was, I mean, very big, like in South America, Spain, but a lot of adults as well, they loved her. I think she was like different, you know what I mean, unique, this beautiful blonde lady, you know what I mean, sing with kids. I grew up with her. I learned how to count with her. I remember for me, she was this beautiful Barbie coming every morning from the Starship. I was like, wow, who's that?
And also the music and the songs were very contagious. I'm sure that we all remember all her songs.
It's very positive as well, full of positive message, full of like go after your dreams. Actually, I live by that. You know, the song sometimes I still listen to them. Sometimes I'm in the gym, I'm listening, and some of this music, it brings a lot of positivity, a lot of like, you know what I mean, willpower for you to, you know what I mean, go after your dreams. And thanks to Xuxa.
Is that the phrase of the day?
Yes. Talking about Xuxa, what was your favorite thing to do as a kid?
Ride my bike, I think. I used to have a bike when I was, in my early teens. And I would ride I don't think my parents know, and I think that this would be true for the majority of us, but like I would take my bike and just like go anywhere in the city, like Panama City is it's a big city. It's not it wasn't for sure very modern when I was growing up, but it was a massive in extension. It was very big, and yeah, I would cross the whole city. Imagine like crossing London with a bike. It takes you hours. It would take me 2 or 3 hours to cross the city.
Wow.
On the bike, and my parents had no idea of where it was. But just like to visit friends or just to to see the city.
No technology at the time. You just know what I mean. There's no way to contact people at the time. I think we were very lucky to grow up at this time of in our lives in the 80s, because there were no more technology, and we lived day by day. You know what I mean, playing around, and I have good memories as well.
We used to have a lot of. Now that you mention it, we used to have a lot of like games in the neighborhood with the other kids in the neighborhood, and we would play hide and seek or what was the other one? All those games, and
so many.
I'm sure that some kids must play them today, but definitely we were not in our devices all day long. Well, TV was a big thing. I remember MTV. It opened, I think, in August '81, and I remember being in front, like coming back from school, and being in front of the television when MTV started, and seeing that the astronaut and the flag on the moon, and then MTV, and then all the programming, the music all day long. That was a massive moment. It was a game changer, I think, for entertainment.
I see. And do you have siblings as well?
I have one brother, yes, a younger brother.
So all your family are back in Panama City?
No, we are all over the planet. So my parents are still in Panama, but cousins and uncles and aunts are in Barcelona and in other countries.
Okay, great. Ready for another question?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Okay, JC, before the next question, tell me a little bit about your job. What do you like the most of your job, and what's the most challenging part?
I think people is what I like the most about my job. When I started doing photography full time, I wasn't sure of the type of photography that I wanted to do, because that's like a big decision. And I tried everything. I thought at the beginning that shooting still life or shooting product or shooting food would be something easier for me, because I'm a control freak. So if I could control like the whole environment of where I'm shooting, that would be easier for me. But then I quickly realized that I'm just a people person, even if I'm a control freak. So getting to know people and, sharing and exchanging with people is what really, I think it's the best thing. The camera has this amazing power. Some people hide behind it, but I think it's a tool that for a lot of people, for some reason, they trust you when you have a camera. They just open up to that device. It is as if you weren't behind the tool. They just speak to that object, and then they open up their lives to you. And I think that's just beautiful.
It's like a connection, isn't it? It's a connection with the camera, with the photography. If you feel safe with the photographer, that's when the connection starts, and everything flows naturally and beautifully as well, I believe.
True.
And what's the most challenging part?
Well, in these times, I think that it's impossible not to mention the situation that we're going through with the pandemic. I mean, the reason why you started this project, right? And usually when there is a recession, the arts are the ones that are more affected. So the creative industries have had a massive hit all over the world, but in particular here in the UK where we live. So it's been really difficult to survive. A lot of people have had to go and look for other jobs to make ends meet. So it's always challenging to make it to the end of the month in moments like this more than ever. And also the people value your work, what you do, that they understand that it takes a lot of, practice, a lot of effort, a lot of years of doing this to be able to master what you do. And it's not the same taking a phone and taking an image than creating a project like the ones that we work on. So that's very challenging for all creatives in general.
Absolutely. Okay, next question for you is, what is the most dramatic argument you ever had?
The most dramatic? I'm not a dramatic person. I'm so chill.
You come across a very calm person, very calm.
Yeah, I don't like drama. The most dramatic. Well, I don't know.
Even
Maybe
at school.
as a child, yeah, probably. Yeah, I've always had this thing in my mind that I feel really guilty about. And when I was, it must have been first grade, second grade in elementary school. Imagine, I must have been 6 or 7. You know how kids can be so mean, and I think we are not any of us is exempt of that. We have all been really mean to other kids.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And we had this Secret Santa thing at school, and this is gonna make me look so bad. But I was a child, and I feel really guilty about it. Someone gave me as a gift, and this must be something that you guys do in Brazil as well. You know when people do this, the religion, like rites of passage. Like you have like the christening, and then you have like the first communion, and then you have
yes, absolutely.
So there is one. What is the one that comes after the? It's the first communion. First communion.
After say Chrisma after first communion. It's like Chrisma, I say.
So the first communion, it's around those ages, right? Like 6,
11,
more or less.
Yeah.
So this kid, he gave me as a gift that year for the Secret Santa, like postcards with my name that said something about my first communion, so that I would give to other kids, you know, when my first communion came. And I come from an atheist family. Even though I went to a Catholic school, my family are atheists. So for me, that gift didn't really, mean anything. And I got really upset. Mind you that I was 6 or 7 years old. So I went to his house and I dropped the gift there and I left. I know, he must have been completely devastated, poor kid, and heartbroken, because you give something, to someone else thinking that you're giving them something special, and then they reject you that way. It was awful, horrible. I remember, I can't even remember knocking on his door and doing that. So yeah, that was very dramatic. I don't think we ever had an argument about that. I don't think we have ever spoken about that. I've seen him later in life when I've been to Panama. Yeah, we had our I think 25 high school reunion, I think. And I saw him there. We never spoke about it, but I remember my folks being really upset, obviously, because they were like, "Why are you doing like that's so ungrateful, of you?"
I think all of us, we have those as a child. Sometimes you just do this action without thinking. You know what I mean? You just kind of follow this instinct and you just do it.
Yeah.
Without thinking properly. Oh my God.
So let me apologize here in this video, Rene. Please forgive me.
Good.
I'm
sure he does. I'm sure he will. I'm sure. Next question. JC from Panama City. Next question for you is, what is your idea of a perfect friendship?
Someone that doesn't ask anything from you. I think that's a perfect friendship. Someone who takes you as you are, no matter what. And
carry on.
And I always say someone who doesn't need you. I think that when you need someone else, it's like as if you want something from the other person. When you stop needing them, then the friendship goes away. So it must be someone who really doesn't need anything from you. They're just with you just because they want to be with you. And I think that applies to any type of relationship in life. I don't believe in those like forced relationships, like you have to love your parents because your parents, or your siblings because they're your siblings or cousins. I love my family because I truly love them, not because anyone is forcing me to, or because there is like a certificate that says that I must love them, right?
And your closest friends, they live in London as well, or in other parts of the world?
In all over the world. I have very good friends here, very good friends in Barcelona, in Australia, and France, in the States. In Panama, I left so many friends behind from my childhood. Yeah.
Very good. Good one.
How about you?
Actually, my best friend, he lives in Canada. In Canada, he's French, he lives there. And but I've got friends as well everywhere. I've got a lot of friends in Brazil, close friends in Brazil, London as well, in Portugal, where I used to live before, in Holland as well. So yes, I've got, as you, I've got good friends around the world as well, always spread around.
What do you consider to be a good friend?
Say again?
What do you consider to be a good friend?
As you said, for me, a good friend is the one, I believe that friendship, you don't choose best friends. It happens naturally. You don't go around and say, okay, you're going to be my best friend. It doesn't work like that. It's like a relationship. When the chemistry is there, it's always going to be a connection there, and you're gonna go through tough times, challenge time, beautiful memories as well. But when the connection is there, the chemistry is there, everything's going to be understanding. So everything's going to be, it's like a relationship with a partner. It's the same thing as well. You don't choose, go like, oh, I'm going to be your best friend right now from now on. It doesn't work like that. Things just happen the way naturally. That's what I believe.
I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. Next question. Let's do it.
Let's go for it.
Before the next question, JC, tell me, in your opinion, what's the biggest cause right now in the world, the mental health problem? What's the biggest cause at the moment?
Over the last few years, I've been thinking a lot about this, and I think it's a matter of expectations and of sort of like the stress that we put on ourselves to achieve what other people are expecting of us. And I say this particularly for young people. We tend to say, you know, the phrase, the young people, they're the future, children are the future. We leave all this responsibility on their shoulders. And that creates a lot of, you know, of sense that they need to, you know, achieve and do great things. But at the same time, we haven't been able to provide them with a role model or with role models to show them this is what we're expecting of you. This greatness that we keep on saying that we want from young people, this is what it looks like. All the role models that we show are completely divert from what we, you know, expect from them. So yeah, I think that is one of the biggest causes of mental health issues, especially in young people, that sense of really not knowing, you know, how to please, you know, everyone's expectations of them.
I believe so as well. Nowadays, even more now, with the world going so fast with the modernity, with the technology, with social media, you know what I mean? It's perfectionism. People nowadays, you see those social media, just a lot of perfection there. That is not perfection at all, but they sell about the perfection. That's what sells in social media. And sometimes people, they are not ready for that. And they start to compare themselves with their perfect life over there, which not, it's just like what they're selling. And I think that's as well what helps even more now, because I think during our time, I think we didn't have too much. I mean, there's always the positive and negative, because at the time we didn't have that information that we have right now, but we were living the day. We were kind of, you know what I mean, enjoy more. Nowadays, of course, we don't have that anymore, but looking at the positive side, there's a lot of more information there as well. But it can be very dangerous because, you know what I mean, social media is so much modernity there, perfectionism, that it can affect people if you're not prepared, you know what I mean? If you're not like mentally prepared, that's seeing that there's not like a perfection there, it's just what they're selling. You know
most definitely. And now also picture yourself at 17. I look back 30 years ago when I was 17. I was just finishing high school. I had to go to university to sign up, to choose a career. At 17, you have no idea what life is about. Like you think, especially previous generations, that thought that you needed to choose a career that you were supposed to be doing for the rest of your life until you retired. And at 17, that is a big choice. Nobody tells you, it doesn't matter, just study something. And then if it doesn't work in 5-10 years, you'll study something else. And you will change career. I have changed careers twice already. And I've studied a lot of things, working in so many different companies. Yeah. I'm now a freelancer, I'm 46 years old, and I'm thinking, what's going to happen in the future? I don't know, maybe I'll change 2 or 3 more times, and it doesn't matter at all. Everything adds up. All those experiences add up, and all the skills that I learned in my previous industry and in the first jobs that I had, I'm using them right now, so everything stays with you.
Everything counts, and everything, that's what makes life a journey, beautiful journey, because sometimes it's so nice when you are capable to change as well. I think the human being, we have so much talent in ourselves that we can do so much. You just need to follow your intuition, you know what I mean, the way makes you happy, and I'm sure you're gonna get to the right place.
I agree.
Next question for you is, tell me, what are the top 3 things on your bucket list?
My bucket list. Yeah, 3 things. There's like a million things that I want to do.
What's the top 1, the top 3?
Oh, gosh. Well, definitely, I would love to have an exhibition, a solo exhibition. So that's definitely on my bucket list. Something that I really want to do as well with my work is sort of like promote change with my work. Something that there's that social transformation comes from the work that I do, that I can do a project with a community and then see that community flourish because of what I was able to contribute to them, definitely. And learn Arabic. I've been trying on Duolingo for 2 years now, but it's so difficult.
And why Arabic?
Sorry?
Why Arabic? Why?
Well, I kept on telling everyone the fact that like a third of Spanish is actually Arabic, because the Caliphate was there for 8 centuries before, you know, it became what it is today, that part of the world. So there's a lot of influence, not only culturally, but also linguistically. So not most of the words, but like a third of the words that we use in Spanish are actually words that come from Arabic. And I kept on saying this all the time. And one day I was like, you know what? I say this, but I have no idea, you know, of Arabic. Let me study it. And I started on Duolingo, and it was, at the beginning, it was very fun because it was like a game, but then it comes to a level where you are demanding yourself to learn more and more and more. So yeah, one day I'll be able to say something.
I tell you, that's how many people already thought that I was Arabic in London. So people approach me on the street to ask information for me. And it happened so many times, you cannot have no idea. One day, I never forget, I was in near Big Ben, and I was with two friends of mine from Brazil, and they came to visit London. And literally 5 minutes ago, we were talking about that. There are so many tourists. I was telling them about that. You're not gonna believe. Less than 5 minutes, one gentleman, he literally almost hugged me on the like behind with like a map in his hand, and he started asking me if I knew where, you know what I mean, Arabic. I started laughing straight away, and he looked at me like confused. I was like, I'm not Arabic. He's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I thought you were like in English. Literally, my friend, they were like laughing on the floor because we literally were talking about that.
That is hilarious.
So funny. And I could tell you like a lot of situations that happened to me as well, like working place, and it's so funny. My grandmother, she's from Paraguay. She's not Brazilian, from my mom's side. She's from Paraguay.
So you're half Paraguayan, half Brazilian?
I do, yes, I have from my mom's side. So, I mean, I've got a lot of mix as well. Like, it's so mixed in Brazil. But yeah, my grandmother, she moved to Brazil when she was 12 years old, very, very young.
I mean, it only makes sense. They were there, the Caliphate was there for 8 centuries. And then when all these people traveled to conquer the American continent, they brought with them not only themselves, who were also mixed with Arab people, but also they brought slaves that they had enslaved from the Arabic world as well. So it only makes sense that we all have something Arabic in our blood.
Absolutely. Next question, let's do it. JC, next question for you is, what is the most difficult thing have you ever done?
Change careers.
Tell a little bit about it.
So I was approaching 40 when I changed careers. I used to be a project manager in telecommunications for like 25 years.
Wow.
And it is related to what I was saying before. I didn't know what to study when I graduated from high school, and my mom said, study computers because that's the future. And I studied that, and I did that for so long. And it opened so many doors. I was able to live in different countries and ended up living in Barcelona before coming to London. And it definitely helped me in my career and my personal life as well, having studied that career. But as I was approaching 40, I realized that I was doing very well. I was climbing up, the corporate ladder. And if I kept on working on that industry, I would want, at some point in the future, be my boss or the CEO of a company, or something that it seemed that was the path that I was following. And I realized that I didn't see myself at 60 or retiring from that career. Thinking I still have like 20 something more years of my life in the professional world. I don't see them in this industry. So I quit, and I started trying to look for myself, sort of like a midlife crisis. And I realized that photography was something that has always been really present in my life, and I decided to become a photographer. But that change is very difficult for anyone, but particularly if you're a control freak, because you automatically are, out of your comfort zone, and you're starting from scratch. I was a 40-year-old intern assisting other photographers, maybe photographers who were half my age. They could be my children, and I was being their assistant. So it takes a lot of humbleness and a lot of the focus on what you want to achieve to be able to make a change like that at that particular age.
And how did photography came into your life? The passion about photography, how did it started?
Since I was very young, I was always the relative or the friend with a camera. So wherever we went, or we have like family meetings or parties with friends or trips, nobody would bring cameras. Mind you that this is when we use film cameras. So you have to remember that we took the photos, took them to the lab, waited 2 weeks for the photos to come back and see what we had taken. And people wanted to avoid that. It was so expensive to send photos to the lab. And I always brought my camera with me. So everyone trusted that I was going to be there with a camera. And I have all my life documented. And I'm rarely in those images because I'm the one taking them. So all my friends and family are in those images, and rarely I'm in them. So it has always been really present in my life, photography. But I never thought that could be a career. I don't know if you share the same experience, but where I come from, that is not seen as a proper job.
Yeah.
You have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer, but being a creative is just something that is not seen as a career. Not so long ago, my mom called me and told me, please, the economic situation in the world is really difficult, with Corona and everything. So please don't send me any gifts for the holidays this year, especially because you don't have a job. And I said, what do you mean I don't have a job? I have a job. I'm a photographer. This is what I do for a living. This is my job. And she said, oh yeah, but you know what I mean? You don't have a proper income. So there's still this mentality that what we do is not a real job. So I never considered that this could be a career. And I was in a museum, in a contemporary arts museum, and I walked into the museum and I saw myself going to the photography section of the museum. And in that moment, I realized this is what I always do. Every time I go to a contemporary art museum, I always go to the photography section first and then visit the rest of the museum. So I had like a eureka moment where I was like, yes, this is what I've always, enjoyed doing. I'm gonna be a photographer, and that's what I did.
Very good, very good. Good for you. It's good when you find your path, like with passion involved as well. And as you're saying about museum, when I go to art galleries as well, or museum, I always end up in the portraits section. I love portraits. I think they're so beautiful. I can spend hours and hours just look at it. And the same when I'm going to buy books as well. When I go to buy books, I always end up in this section about spiritualism, self-growing, how to, all these parts. It's when you know yourself, when you tend to follow this, things. And when you kind of put all together as a professional, there we go. That's when things start going in a better direction, let's say, a different direction.
I agree. The thing is getting to know yourself. I think we spend all our lives trying to figure out who we are.
It's a long process, but again, it's a challenge. It's a nice challenge to get to know yourself. You know what I mean? I'm sure in 10 years' time, we're going to talk again. You're going to be like, you know what? I'm a totally different person.
Maybe I'll be an astronaut and you'll be a surgeon.
Yeah, never know. Next one. Let's do it. Before the next question, tell me, you mentioned that you lived in Barcelona before. So tell me why Barcelona and why London?
So I left Panama in the year 2000 when I was 25 in the year 2000. And I went to Barcelona because my family is from there. So it seemed logical that would be the first place that I would go to. And I also wanted to get to know my family roots, where my family came from. And at the beginning, I didn't have a plan. It was just going to be for a short period of time, and I ended up staying 14 years.
Wow.
Then from Barcelona, I was working for a company in my previous industry, and they sent me to New York to open the offices in New York, and I stayed there for a few years. And then when I came back to Barcelona after that, it was in the middle of the 2008 recession. It seems like we go from recession to recession every 10 years, right? And the situation in the Mediterranean, Portugal, Spain, Catalonia, Italy, like all the countries in the Mediterranean, Greece especially, were really struggling back then. So I had a job, but it was really sad to look around and see that all of a sudden all of your friends had lots of jobs. There were so many unemployed people. It was really, really sad. And I thought that at some point that could happen to me as well. So yeah, that's how I ended up in the UK.
I see. Good one. Next question for you is, tough question now. If someone came up to you and given an envelope with your death date inside, would you open it or not?
No. What kind of question is that? No, why? I mean, imagine it could be in 1 second or it could be in 70 years. Hopefully not in 70 years. I don't want to live until 100 or something. But yeah, no, why? I think that would only make me, it would force me to either do more things that the ones that I was going to do anyways, or stop doing things that I could have done. No, I wouldn't want to know. Yeah, that's the beauty of life, is that uncertainty, that anything can happen. You make your own life.
Absolutely. Anyway, next one. Right. Next question for you is, if you could do something illegal without getting caught, what would you do?
Wow. Well, you know what? Lately, it has been made illegal to help refugees get into our countries. After everything that we have done to the geographic areas where they come from, now we don't allow them to come into our countries, right? And we sort of have taken their humanity away by not seeing them as people. We just see them as figures, as numbers, as illegal, as if a person could be illegal. So if I could do something illegal, I would be in those beaches, helping those people come in.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love the answer. I really like it. Really good one. Ready for another question?
Ready.
Okay, see, let's do it. DC, when you think about Panama City, the place where you grew up, where you come from, what's the beautiful memories that you have that comes genuinely to your heart or to your mind?
I really, really miss how accessible everything in Panama was when I was growing up. I think it's not the same right now. I think that Panama has grown into this massive metropolis. But everything seemed simpler in the 80s, and being able to go to the beach just because, in the weekend, and you're in less than an hour, you are in this, beautiful, paradise beaches. That is something that I really, really miss, that feeling of, freedom, of dipping your feet in the warm water, sitting on the sand, soaking in the sun. And I'm feeling free. I think that would be one of the memories that I have of growing up in Panama.
And do you go very often to see your parents, or?
I try to go every 2 years, more or less, yeah. But I mean, since the pandemic, obviously, I haven't been able to go.
Of course. Okay, next question for you is, what was the biggest punishment have you ever received?
Self-inflicted or by others? Yeah, sometimes we can be our worst enemies. And I'm not saying this in a self-destructive type of way, but when you have very high standards, you put yourself also against those standards. You measure yourself against them. So yeah, I think that probably the worst punishment I've given to myself, probably at some point or many times. The pressure, I think, to achieve things, to always do good things, to always be on the right side, to always do things correctly, not to always be right, because or not to not make mistakes. I think that it's good to make mistakes, and you can't possibly be right all the time, and you need to learn from your mistakes. And obviously, if you're wrong, accept that and embrace it, and try to become better. It's about trying to make the right decisions, to make the right choices. That is a pressure that I feel all the time. I don't know why. Do you get that pressure, or is it just me?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I think. I think when I was younger, I was more kind of, you know what I mean, watch myself, about always get things right. Nowadays I'm more relaxed. I'm aware. I think when you are when you overthink sometimes about things, you know what I mean, controlling. If I could define myself in, if I could change something about myself, it'd be this thing about overthinking. I always had that, but nowadays I kind of control a little bit, or when I see myself in that situation, I just try to do things that distract me. But yes, I understand. I understand your point. Sometimes you just need to go with the flow. It's not just up to you. Sometimes the universe needs to be around. Everything needs to work together to, you know what I mean, for things to happen. Not just about you. You need to let things, you know what I mean, work together. But I understand. Sometimes I catch myself as well, like organized. Things need to be the way, you know what I mean, but it doesn't work. I learned that it doesn't work like that. You need to be reliable and more kind of, you know what I mean, because it can bring some anxiety, can be a lot of things as well involved. So you just need to relax. Always focus, but not focus too much. Just relax and let things come naturally. That's the way I...
Also, embrace that we are all a work in progress. I think that I like that idea that I am working towards something and it will be accomplished when I die, because that's when my life ends and that's it, right? So I'm building up to that moment when I have finally become who I was supposed to become, right? So that idea that I'm a work in progress also takes a little bit of the anxiety about it.
And the good thing is just the fact that we know it, we are aware of it, is already half of the journey worked, you know what I mean? Because when you know it, when you're conscious about it, you're going to the right direction. That's what I believe as well. Because sometimes, you know what I mean, you even don't know, you're doing things that you're not aware of, you know what I mean? So you're kind of still lost. But when you get yourself in the point that, okay, I know it's not the right thing, or I'm giving myself a hard time, so let me concentrate myself, that's when things are going the right direction. That's what I believe as well.
True.
3 questions left for you. Let's do it. Okay, JC, next question for you is, which one movie you could watch over and over again?
Me Joe Black.
Tell me about it. Why?
I didn't even have to think about it because I've watched it like 15 or 16 times. I don't know, there's something about that movie. There's something in the dialogues. There's something on Claire Forlani, the actress. Also Anthony Hopkins, which is just fantastic. Obviously, Brad Pitt when he was young. Even, I mean, today he's fantastic and beautiful. But he was young when he was young, you know, with everything in his life ahead of him. So yeah, it is a beautiful movie. It's beautifully shot. The dialogues are beautiful. It's very inspiring. There's a lot of really interesting messages there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I watched it as well. Not that amount of time as you, but I have watched it. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Next question for you is, tell us about your first kiss and your first love.
My first kiss. I don't even remember my first kiss. My first love. Yeah, I was so in love with this. With this neighbor growing up. Yeah. I used to fantasize about him a lot. I think that we all, like, I mean, gay kids and also lesbian kids, queer kids in general, we always have this sort of like fascination with either a classmate or a neighbor or even someone in our families. It's just this fantasy. I think especially in places where it is sort of like forbidden to be queer. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was a beautiful time. Yeah. I can't remember my first kiss though. Yeah, it was a long time ago. I was very young probably when I had my first kiss. I was very active from a very young age. So yeah, it has rained a lot since.
Very good, very good. Last question, ready?
Ready.
Let's do it. Last question for you. See, before the last one, as you know, of course, the world has been facing a lot of challenge through this 18-19 months regarding the COVID crisis. What's the most positive thing you took out of this challenge journey?
It's very difficult. That's a very good question, because it's very difficult to have a positive perspective out of a very dark moment in life. I think that it depends on the perspective that you look at it from. I'm sure that people in technology, for instance, they have really, seen a massive opportunity in this period of time, because communications have grown so much. Apps or softwares like the one that we've been using, they were not very well known before the pandemic, and all of a sudden they became, what they are today. Almost we can seem to be able to live our lives without these softwares and everything that comes behind it. People think that this is something that is like from my screen to your screen, but there's a lot of technology and a lot of hardware and software and cables, wires, that are able to make us communicate the way they're communicating. So all that industry, definitely, they're thriving. I think the sense of connection with other human beings, I think that is something that has come, something good that has come out of the pandemic. Empathy, a lot of compassion, people wondering how their neighbors are, how their relatives are, if you haven't seen people or spoken to them in a long time. Now it seems like people are trying to reconnect with those people from before. A lot of social issues that probably were in our minds before the pandemic, I think that they have gotten a lot of attention this last 2 years, and because we haven't been able to go outside and we have been like stuck at home looking at the screens all day long, it has been a perfect platform actually to be able to speak about these issues, because people were there paying attention. So I think that it's also something positive that has come from it. It's a difficult one, because it has been horrible for all of us. It has been a terrible global experience. It has been an experience that everyone has shared, but it has at the same time been so individual in the way that we have experienced it. From the 8 billion people in the planet, we have all experienced this from a different perspective. It has affected us in different ways. So that makes it really difficult to get something positive out of it.
Absolutely. Last question for you is, what season of the year you feel more connected with, and why?
Spring. It's such a beautiful, beautiful season. I'm a winter person in the sense that I don't like the heat, so I don't like when we have heat waves here, for instance, in the UK. Like if you are in the beach or by the pool at 35 degrees, that is fantastic. But when you're in London, working in the office at 29 degrees, that could be a chaos. But spring, it's like the perfect season because it's not too cold, it's not too warm. All the flowers bloom, plants are happy, at least in the northern hemisphere. And I love plants as well. I have my garden where I have lots of plants. So spring, is the perfect season.
Very good, very good. Right, it's not the end yet. Okay, let's play now the word association game. So I'm going to give away some words and you just tell one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking. Let's start with life.
Love.
Money.
Waste.
Love.
Life.
Family.
Union.
Sex.
Awesome.
Politics.
Interesting.
Religion.
Crap.
Fear.
Necessary.
Friendship.
Love.
Desire.
Very much needed. Is that just one word?
I'll take that. Regrets.
None.
Success.
Happiness.
Wish.
Star.
Okay. One word for happiness.
Content.
One word for Barcelona.
Can I use that as a word? That sound.
Which one? You can. How about London?
One word for London. Diversity.
One word for Panama City.
The best?
How about the last one? Panama. One word for Panama.
Warmth.
Amazing. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your best friend now for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friend, what is the most beautiful thing about JC, and what's something that he still needs to work on to improve on? What do you think he'll tell me, or she?
They will tell you probably that I'm very compassionate, I think. I would hope so. They will tell you that. And something that I need to work on, so many things, gosh. Probably that I need to believe more in myself.
Interesting that. Work in progress?
Work in progress.
Very good. Let's play now JC and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But before that, let's play the music one more time.
Go for it.
But before you ask me a question, back to the word association game, one word for photographer.
Magician.
Amazing. You can ask me a question now, JC.
How much has Brazil changed since you were a child?
Brazil?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very interesting question because I left Brazil when I was 19. I was very young when I left Brazil. I moved to Portugal. I think I've been in Brazil since then, like as a tourist, more than 2 weeks. What I can see from Brazil, I think Brazil, even though the politicians still the same, politics in Brazil is still the same, the corruption you can hear every day, of course, with the president right now as well, leading Brazil. I think there's a lot of things when I look back, when I can see that's still happening and still can, still can improve. But I believe that Brazil, it's grown a lot. I think Brazil is in the eyes of the whole world. People are talking about Brazil a lot more than before, for sure. And I think Brazil, I think people, there are a lot of opportunities more in Brazil. I can see as well that people, they are changing their lives in Brazil a lot. That's when I was a child, of course, I had a different view, but when I look back, when I see the news about Brazil and how much, I think I have the impression that Brazil is gone to a better place. Of course, there's still a lot to, when I look, I can see still a lot of things since I was a child. But overall, I think people, they talk about Brazil, about opportunities. I think opportunities is a word that I'll define Brazil at the moment, like in my eyes. I think there are a lot of opportunities right there that at the time I couldn't see that much. I think the technology, we were talking before about social media as well, I think that helped Brazil a lot to grow. I think people, they are more connected with the world. I think a lot of information to Brazil is more handy now, so people, they have more access to information more than ever as before. People, they have different eyes as well. But at the time, they just show what they wanted to show, what we could see. But nowadays, they are not barrier anymore. The information is out there. Everything is raw. Everything's there. So you have no choice. You have to see it. So I think Brazil, we've gone to we are more informed about what's happening in the world right now. There's not that's what they want to show us. I think everything there is now. People they are more aware of what's happening, and the information is more clear and is more visible right now. So there are no way. It's still a lot of things. They can hide. Politicians but I think people, they are more aware of what things, and it's more difficult now for them to lie or to hide the information because everything's already there, visible. So that's what my eyes about Brazil since I left as a teenager.
Seems like it's a very similar journey to other countries in Latin America as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a lot of improvement there. I think the technology helped that a lot. At the time, I remember being a child. I remember watching TV. I just have 3 channels, one, the biggest one, the other 2 was very difficult to watch it. So the information wasn't there. We just follow what was showing. But now there's no anymore. Now people, they have more access to information. It helps a lot as well. I think people, they open their minds, the way they see life and everything, every topic. I think they have a different approach now, I believe.
What is the best place in Brazil?
Tough question. Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna be I think the best place. I had the opportunity to travel Brazil a lot since I've been away from Brazil. I had the opportunity to visit different parts of Brazil as a tourist, visiting. But I have a passion for where I come from. I think the place where I come from, JC, is a place where people, they still have this warmth. Like people, they don't see problems as other people see. For us to, like for you, it's very interesting that, because for us, where I come from, problem for us needs to be something like drastic, like something that you even they don't know how to deal with. We see problems a different way of even other places in Brazil as well. But overall, I think the Brazilian people, we have this thing. I remember arriving in Europe. I remember like people, even nowadays, sometimes when people complain or moaning about some different kind of problems, of course I understand as well that, and I know they mean it. But sometimes I think to myself, my God, that's not a problem at all. Where I come from, it's not a problem at all. It's just a situation, a hard situation, but it's not like a problem for you to be facing this way or expressing yourself. When my friends, like I have very close friends here from other nationalities, when I can say that, of course, they're my friends, that I can talk about, I can express myself. But sometimes I see things that I go like, oh my God, that's not a problem at all. That's just a situation that it can be resolved in a different way. So yeah, that's what I think. Where I come from, we still have that, you know what I mean, approach of life, that this way of, okay, let's be positive, let's face problems, you know what I mean, with a situation, you know what I mean, because problems, they're gonna come all the time. But I believe problems is when something that's not up to you anymore. You need something more help or some, you know what I mean. That's when I see a problem. But besides that, I think that's yeah. Where I come from, my state called Mato Grosso, where I come from. Yeah, Mato Grosso. And it's a beautiful state. It's a massive state, a lot of nature as well, you know what I mean, a lot of nature. And I remember growing up, like, as we talk about the 80s, my God, with no technology at all, and I miss that sometimes. Sometimes I go like, oh my God, I miss this William, 16, 17 years old. Sometimes I miss that. But yeah, so I think, but for tourist eyes, like people when they go to Brazil for the very first time, of course, Rio de Janeiro is our postcard. I think when you go to Brazil, when you go to Rio, you can see a tiny bit of what Brazil is, but it's like it's a postcard. It's like it's the door of Brazil. I think Rio de Janeiro. What a beautiful city! I lived there for 6 months. I was already living in Europe when I spent 6 months there, and I was like, oh my God, that's a place that it's even being Brazilian, I felt like, my goodness, that's a different country. I felt like a different country because it's so much. But every state you go in Brazil, you feel a different country because they are so big and have so much the culture. Every state is like, it's so fascinating how one country has so much, you know what I mean, culture, like every part you go in Brazil. So yeah, I'm very lucky to be part of Brazil, for sure.
I think visiting Brazil is going to be added to my bucket list now.
There we go. Let me know. I can give some tips where to go, what to do, for sure. JC, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy the interview?
I had an amazing time. Thank you so much. Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Thanks so much for taking the time on Sunday for the interview. I know you are a very busy guy and you took the time. I really appreciate that. But before you go, I would like just to say a message or a positive quote, something that inspires you in life.
Yeah, I think that we all have the potential to change the world just by doing something good for the world every day. We're definitely going to be able to achieve the change that we're looking for.
Very good. I totally believe that as well. I have this belief as well, for sure. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And keep in touch, okay? Let's go for a coffee one day in London. I got to live the same city.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, of course. Would love that.
Keep in touch, okay? All the best. Enjoy your day.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
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 So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. and I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.